Hi everyone, Janie here. Welcome back to my garden. We have had quite a bit of wind the last couple days. It has been so windy, wind advisories. Actually my Korean maple that I have over here, it actually fell over and it just was really unpleasant. I came outside to pull the ranunculus in my Vigo beds the other day, and just after a couple hours in the garden, I was like exhausted. I was so tired. And I think that the wind just does that to me when I'm out in the garden. I get so tired. So it was windy this morning, and then finally it died down enough to where you don't have the little wind symbol on the forecast. So I decided that I was going to come out this afternoon and plant a little bit in the garden. And I think what I want to do is I want to work on my long border. So I'm in the gazebo right now, and the gazebo is in the center island, and just off to the south side of the center island, on the other side of my driveway, is what I like to call my long border. And the long border was inspired by Great Dixter's long border. Great Dixter has this beautiful perennial border on their property. I've never been. I've only seen it in pictures, but it's just this beautiful, beautiful garden bed that they have a whole bunch of perennials planted in, and the perennials come up, I think it's during June or July when it's like absolutely at its peak. And I kind of wanted to copy this long border after that. However, one thing that I am noticing, because I have used a lot of perennials in this garden bed, you can see I have some Veronica right here. Here are my Eden climbing roses that are these I just planted last fall, so they're just getting started. I have some Kufia right here, Mangave, some lavender, some more Veronica, just a lot of perennials. However, not a lot of blooms as compared to what I normally like. Like, this is what I normally like, you know, like this is the amount of color that I want to see in my garden. And so I do want to see a little bit more color in this garden bed. Eventually I want to put a whole bunch of perennials in, but perennials and shrubs, they do take a little while to ramp up. You know, it takes about 3 years, sleep, creep, leap, right? And so I think for like the next 2 years or so, I might just put some annuals in here just to kind of fill it up and get some blooms while these perennials and shrubs are ramping up, so that I do see a little bit more color in this garden bed. So let me take you guys down here and show you what I have here. This is my purple hopseed bush that I am training up like a tree, and so that's really pretty. That's really dark color that I have there. And then coming over here, I have a Wichita blue juniper that is gorgeous, and an apricot tree with lots of apricots on it that are growing. I actually thinned these out, and I'm really happy with how they're looking. And then this one branch right here, I didn't thin out. I left all of them on there, and you can see these are so much smaller than the big ones that I have up here growing. So I'm excited to see how those do. This area is coming along a little bit. These need some, I wonder if I have budworms here. Ooh, what's going on? Okay, so what I'm looking at is I'm looking at this verbena, and this is a superbena, and so this should have blooms everywhere, right? This should have blooms completely covering it, and it doesn't, and I don't know why, because we've been fertilizing it, and I bet it has budworms. Oh man, they're here. Oh, so that's something that you should look at. A lot of people will ask me, how do you know you have budworms? If you see a plant that should be covered in blooms and it's not, then you know you might want to look a little bit closer and see if there's a problem. So anyways, I will address that. These are Pugster lavender, I think. Pugster lavender, Buddleia. This is some bearded iris, podocarpus, and then lemon cypress, Monterey cypress right there, which, can you believe how big this thing has gotten? Holy cow. So I do have a little bit of color, a little bit of color. Here's some of the big sky salvia. This is the new salvia from Proven Winners, and it's really beautiful. Really gorgeous. Let me see if I can find a tag. Living large, big sky, full sun, 32 inches tall, perennial. Really, really pretty. I'm liking how the bloom colors are looking. They're looking gorgeous. But you can see overall, I just don't have a lot of blooms going on this side of the garden. Things are looking really good over here. Really, everything to the right of the dry creek bed, things are looking really good. Everything to the left is kind of like wah wah. I am waiting to get some compost delivered over here because we haven't really amended the soil very much yet, so I'm waiting for that. We have amended this soil. I just haven't really addressed addressed it yet. So anyway, today I thought what I could do, I do still have some annuals. I do have some Supertunias and some unplugged salvia and a couple other things left over from my annual plant stash, my annuals. And so I thought I could just take some out and start filling some of these blank spots with some color. Okay, first I have a bunch of bubblegum. I just cut these back. Well, I cut them back a little bit ago. They're just starting to bud up again, so we'll have some color really soon. Okay, then I have Angelface Blue Angelonia. I've actually never grown Angelonia before, so I'm excited to see how it does. It says it gets 30 inches tall, so that'll be really pretty kind of in the back. Here I have some Tiara Blue, some pretty purple. And I think finally these are Whirlwind Starlight. Is that what they're called? Yeah. Whirlwind Starlight Scaevola. It's getting hot. Okay, so I was able to place a whole bunch of annuals, a ton of annuals, even some down there past the apricot tree. And I love doing this because if you're kind of at a standstill for a garden bed, if you kind of are stuck and don't really know what you want to plant, planting annuals to me is so much less pressure than planting perennials and shrubs. Because perennials and shrubs, they take a couple years to really get full and to their maximum potential, and by then you might not even want that plant there anymore. So having annuals at first gives you a really good idea of what your garden bed is going to look like. Like say you want pinks and purples here, or say you want some brighter colors over here. It just, to me, it allows me to visualize the space a lot better. So I always rely heavily on annuals, and then if I decide I really like something there, like I really like a pop of pink there, then maybe I'll replace it with a perennial that I know is more long-term. So to me, this is a great way to get started with a garden bed that there's not too much going on. These guys, they all need water so bad. I think we're going to get to 85 degrees today. So we're all thirsty. So I need to get these in the ground pretty quickly, which is why I stopped laying them out. I probably could have kept going based on how many annuals I have in my stash, but I want to make sure that I get them all planted. So over here, I have some Supertunia Vista Bubblegum. I think that'll be a really pretty pop of pink. And then behind that, I have the Angelonia. Gosh, I cannot remember the name of this. Angelface Blue. That is not a hard name to remember. Angelface Blue. Really pretty. I did add in some Verbena bonariensis for some height and some like frilliness, basically. So I got those from Curious Flora Nursery. I got 5 of those, and I'm hoping that they reseed themselves. I think that'll look really pretty. Then we have the Whirlwind Starlight Scaevola kind of up here. And so these are all pinks and purples that are going to pop, make this honey apricot rose pop. Really beautiful. Then as we come this way, I have a little bit more of the Angelface Blue, the Verbena bonariensis, and in the front here, I had some Luscious Basket Tangeglow. I always call this Luscious Basket Tangelo, but it's Tangeglow. So that'll be a pop of like warmer, hotter colors. So I think that that'll be really interesting, and I'll get to decide if I like that look or if I want to keep this more of like a purple and pink bed. Then coming this way, we have more of the Scaevola, I did get this one. This was a butterfly weed, an orange butterfly weed that I got for free at the garden center. They were giving them away. And so I'm going to plant this here right next to my purple Veronica that I have right here. So I think that that'll be a really pretty combination. I did get 3 of these geranium matarense from Curious Flora Nursery. These aren't going to bloom this year, but this spot under my neighbor's almond tree is a really, really tough spot for me. You can see right here my March blooming garden where I did osteospermum and I did some azalea. It's not looking good. This is a really tough spot. So I think that those should be able to perform pretty well in this spot that's kind of shady, kind of sunny. It's definitely a sun transition area. Then coming over here, I added some more in. I added some yellow, Supertunia Vista yellow right here. I think that that'll look really pretty with the lavender buddleia, and it won't clash with the raspberry superbena once it starts blooming better again. Then some more of the Angelonia, and then I finally finished off with a couple more bubblegum. So you can see I still have a lot of space to go. I have plenty more space in here, but once these annuals start growing, they're gonna fill in a lot of this blank space, and it's gonna give it color. And again, it's going to allow me to get a better picture of what I want the long border to look like in the long run. All right, let's get planting. So I am about halfway through with my planting. I'm taking a little bit of a break in the shade because I'm hot. I have been watering all the plants that I've planted. I've watered in, so they're happy. The ones that are still in their cans are definitely not happy, but I'll get them in just a little bit. I wanted to cool down first, but I thought while I was sitting here, I could answer a question that a lot of you had. I did this on my Monday video. I had a lot of questions on my Friday video where I was fertilizing my annuals, and I answered some of the questions from that video, and you all seemed to like that a lot, which I really appreciated. And so I thought I would answer another question that it seemed like a lot of you had. And this question was actually regarding my stock tanks that I planted up. I just recently planted up my stock tanks, and I made a comment on that video that I was being lazy because I didn't take out the soil and replace it. And Chafrod J Fra 32 asks, "Hi Janie, question. Why would you have to take out the soil if you continue to add nutrients to it? We don't remove soil in the ground, we just add to it." And there was a lot of people who liked this comment and then a bunch of questions underneath. And so I thought that I would address that today just really quick as I was cooling down. And my understanding, my thought process to answer this question is, in the ground, the ground is alive. The ground is alive with worms and bugs and mycorrhizae and microbes, and there's a whole bunch of stuff going on. And your soil is almost more alive than the plants that are above your soil. And so that's what makes your ground so amazing and why it's so important. And I always say, add compost to your soil, because the compost is actually what feeds that life in your soil. And so I put compost down, and then I put wood chips on that, and that helps further that process that's going on in your native soil in your garden. And so when you talk about a container that is a limited finite amount of space, there is a little bit of life going on in that. However, there's so many plants planted in that finite amount of space, and there's no way for the same amount of good bugs to get in, the worms to get in, and worm poop is so good for your soil, and the organic matter in the soil depletes really quickly because you water containers more than you water the soil. So basically, I think of it as all the organic matter gets leached out. There's not enough bugs and life in containers to replenish all of that organic matter. And you can add fertilizer, you can add, starter fertilizer, you can add all-purpose fertilizer, slow-release fertilizer, but it's not the same. It's not really adding more organic matter to the container. The way that you would add organic matter to the container is to add compost, some type of compost to the container. And potting soil is, a combination that includes some compost, some organic matter. So I don't think that you have to do it all the time. I don't think that you have to replace the soil every single time you change out your containers, but I do think every so often you absolutely should. And if you just add compost to the top, you're kind of getting that you're kind of satisfying that need for the organic matter, just like I do for adding compost to my garden. I like to add compost just on top to my garden. I don't till it in. But having said that, even if you do add compost to your container, you have to think, how many roots do you have in that container? Are there a ton of roots that are left over? Did you plant a plant that has a really extensive root system, and then all the roots are taking up all the area, so there's not that much space left for the soil? Also, are there any bad bugs that are overwintering that have laid their eggs in that container? And normally, if you have some bad bugs in your soil, in your garden, there's going to be some good bugs that will come and eat that. So it'll keep it in check. But a container, again, is a really limited ecosystem, and so you could be setting your new plants up for failure. So that's kind of how I think of it, as I just think the most important thing is organic matter in your soil. And a container, you're depleting the amount of organic matter every single time you plant something in there if you're not adding more organic matter. I don't think you have to do it as much as everybody says, but I do think that you do have to do it at certain times. So anyway, if anyone has anything else to add to this, go ahead, do it in the comment section below. I think it's a good discussion, and I think it's a good debate. But how I consider it is, I just think organic matter is king, and it's the most important thing you can have in your garden, and we need it in our containers as well. And so if there's not enough room to add more organic soil, then you need to pull out some of that soil and replace it with some more fresh organic matter. So hopefully that answers that question. I'm going to rest in the shade for a little bit longer, and then I'll get to more planting. gosh, I just realized there was no drip irrigation on this poor tulip poplar tree. No wonder it looks so bad. Look at this. I was like, what's wrong with this thing? Ugh. I hope it bounces back. Oops. All right, well, that guy's getting a deep soak. Here we have Supertunia Vista Bubblegum. Those got some water. We've got the Angelface Blue Angelonia. Oh my gosh, I cannot say the name of this plant. Angelface Blue Angelface Blue Angelonia. There we go. That is a tongue twister for me. Supertunia Mini Vista Yellow right here. And then here you can see how much more this bed is filled with plants that are going to bloom all season long, which is really important. Yes, it's important to have perennials because they last year to year, but I also think it's important to see color for a lot of the year just so that you can enjoy your garden. So we will see how this looks in a couple weeks once all these annuals start blooming, as long as I take care of the budworms that have reared their ugly head. And just so you all know, the way that I take care of budworms is I spray something called Bacillus thuringiensis, which is a natural bacteria found in soil. However, it will affect other pollinators if you spray it. Like if you have monarchs, if you have a monarch way station, it will affect their larvae, just like it's affecting the budworm larvae. So I planted that butterfly weed over there, which is supposed to be a host plant for monarch butterflies. So I have to be really careful to not spray BT on that plant and not spray it on a day like today that's really windy that can cause overspray onto plants where I don't want it. If you do have a pollinator garden or a native garden that you're really focusing on pollinators, then you do want to be careful with BT. But I think a lot of you already know that. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed this. I'll keep you updated on how the long border's looking. I think I'm going to add to it. I think I'm going to do another day or two over here just to add even more color to the area because I just feel like I need more color over here on this side. I hope you enjoyed this and I hope you all have a chance to get in your garden today.